You look so beautiful.
Thank you, because I was going to be with you, right? So I have to show up.
I love those earrings.
Thank you, thank you. I actually got them at a store called Golden Triangle where they have like spirituality, and they were hanging on a rack, and I was like, I'm going to get those. They caught my attention.
They were calling you.
You look great. It's so good to see you, Addi.
It is. It's good to see you. It's been so long.
I know. We've been like communicating via WhatsApp and just like keeping the line of communication. I know, like, we'll talk. That's why when I put, I go, we'll talk soon when that time is.
Yeah. And I saw that you traveled. You and Andrew went up to North Carolina. Did you guys come up to North Carolina?
Wait, but I told you, like, his in-laws, they live like not the East Coast, because that's what's going to be, impacted by Hurricane Erin, whether it's a storm surge. But geographically, they're by Boone, by Appalachian State.
Okay.
And maybe like 2 hours south from Asheville. I'm just trying to remember, like, geography. I'm not the greatest, but
right.
So I have to fly to you. Like, next time I plan North Carolina, I want to fly to you. Because driving...
you don't want to drive. I know that. And driving is just not it. And it's not it. And this is what I was going to say. And I'm home alone. Oh, the girls are back in school. And so, yeah, it's quiet. I think I'm going to Monopoly alone tonight. It sounds so pathetic. Oh my goodness, but it's so good to see you. I had some conversations with our friend Katya, and just touching base. She's so beautiful. Yeah, just chit-chatting back and forth on Instagram. We didn't really get on the phone. Yeah.
Because she needs girlfriend, connections, and I'm trying to get her direction. So when we're done talking, I'm actually going to order your blueprint, the book, because there's some things there's things in the horizon. So I'm happy we connected this way. When you said, hey, are you available today? I'm like, absolutely not. But tomorrow, yes. And I was like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, that's great.
So thank you.
You're so welcome. I've been circulating with a lot of different topics, and you were one of them. I wanted to get some of the other topics out of the way before I came to you, and but I haven't gotten those out of the way. But I'm like, you know what? This is good as time as ever to have that conversation with you. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. All right. So let's get started because
yes, let's do this.
This is the Empress Addi Podcast. So thanks for indulging us during our little banter. We do that, when people connect, you want to, catch up a little bit. So this podcast is really titled today, The Hardest Stage, Healing, Play, and Choosing Yourself. Yeah? So, of course, I had to, get my girl here, and I'll introduce you in just a bit. But life is not only about survival, it's about expression. Our ancestors knew this very well. They did it through drumming, through song, through ritual. They taught us that art in art forms, all the different art forms are medicine. Today, we step into the truth with a guest who embodies that. So I'm Addi Cassius. I'm the host of the Empress Addi Podcast. And today I'm joined by Michelle Moreno. She's a drama therapist, a performer, a teacher, a healer, a tarotist who uses creativity and performance to transform trauma into possibility. And together we're going to explore what that means to laugh, cry, and heal through play. So Michelle, welcome.
Thank you, Addi. Oh man, just thinking about the topic, playing and healing, it did bring some things. So before we got started, I was like, let me ground myself and just connect and just go with the flow. But this is very meaningful work to me, exploring play, and it's a safe entry point in how you actually address trauma. Because as we may be aware or not, but our bodies keep score. And that's not my original term, but our bodies definitely do that. And it shows up in in inconvenient places. And I noticed with myself, my healing journey actually happened through my work.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's just a little
Oh,
preview, I guess, what we're going to talk about, right?
That's exactly what I want to dive into. Drama
Yeah.
therapy and storytelling as healing. So, Michelle, your work is intersected with creativity and therapy. And so can you share with us what drama therapy actually is? I'm sure a lot of people may still not know, and why play can be so powerful in the healing journey.
Yeah. So when you were talking about many cultures using storytelling and ritual, essentially drama therapy is about using story through invoking, oneself through a ritual. So to give you a sense, drama therapy is over 40 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
But I'm pretty sure your listeners or viewers have heard of art therapy,
Yeah.
music therapy,
Yeah.
maybe dance therapy and drama therapy, kind of is like, I haven't heard about that. Is that psychodrama?
Yeah.
And so to keep it very simple, yes, there's a foundation in psychodrama, where you do role play, you go back in the past, you have reparative moments, and that's pretty much like the foundation. But then with drama therapy, we use theater, we use story play, we use mask work, we use all the other creative arts to so much like look at life through the lens of drama therapy is rehearsal.
Mm.
Let's rehearse this. Let's go back. And then we process. So give you an idea of structure, like the ritual. It's always important because depending on where the client wants to go or the group, we have to ground ourselves. And I always like to say, like many drama therapists, it's a container where we're going to have like the warm up. And then we're going to go into the work. And I like to say, I'm your guide.
Mhm.
And I'm going to walk along you. You're pretty much going to lead the session, but I'm supposed to safeguard you when I notice maybe your body is reacting in such a way that you're stiffening up. And I always tell my clients, give me a signal or use your voice. Let's stop.
Mm.
Because if you go deep into the work, I
Mm.
always like to say, like we have our closing. So we go into the work, we process, we talk about it. I usually give homework. I call it life work. Like many drama therapists, what do you do after this? What's going to happen? And then we want to have like a closure because I always say, like when you do this work, especially work that involves trauma, you
Yeah.
never want to leave the client open and wounded
Yeah.
because then it's like, what do I do with this? So you always want to show them tools of we're going to enter the session through like deep breaths, let's ground.
Mhm.
We're going to play. We might use mask work. We might use poetry. And that's the thing about theater, right? It's like use all these theater elements, but think about it as tools to help bring out a story and helping, as I like to say, help you get to home. What
Mm.
is home? Safety. And
Mhm.
that's the opposite of trauma, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to do like the breathing, like
That's
the
all
opening of
proof of trauma, right?
yeah. So you just gotta like, let's go to like together into the space, and some drama therapists might use drumming, right? And that's really cool. They
Yeah.
might use music or song, and then you have the same thing to just close it,
Yeah.
you know?
I still remember
Yes.
those days where, we were working simultaneously, side by side too, working to infuse drama therapy. This was your introduction of drama therapy, but also you were using the experience of working with the children in Little Haiti.
Oh yeah.
And I was incorporating the drumming therapy along with all your arts therapies, and I thought it was great. Now, in your personal professional practice, have you have you had a moment where you saw someone unlock healing through play?
Did and to me that's the most rewarding to give you a story, example. I got into this, like most drama therapists, not knowing we were doing drama therapy, right? Like it's pretty much like when you're a performer, you feel like this transformative, like when you connect with the audience. And I was like, what is that connection about?
Mhm.
And then I had the opportunity as an undergrad to work with Upward Bound,
Mm.
kids who are put at risk, not their choice, but they're at risk situations.
Mhm.
And so I was asked, okay, Michelle, you're going to have to teach Shakespeare. And I was like, okay, and do what? Just make it very relatable. And I spoke to one of my mentors, at FIU, Leslie Ann, and she's like, he was a rapper. What? He worked on beats. He spoke for the people. I was like, got it.
Nice.
And through that play, through that play of like finding a game in order as an entry point, help someone become connected out of their head and just be very present. And so that's the importance of like why we use play, why I use play,
Mhm.
because if you're able to laugh or at least connect and
Yeah.
tell story,
Yeah.
present.
So did you see any healing or any epiphanies or any breakthroughs with the children of Upward Bound?
I did. So I remember like as, being an adult, having the students use the restroom. Okay, it was break time. And I happened to use the same restroom. Like none of the teacher restrooms were available. I was like, okay, whatever. So I
Mhm.
was at one of the stalls. And as I was, in the stall, I overheard these two young ladies mention, thank goodness for this program, and I'm like paraphrasing here, but what they essentially said is if I was still like hanging out in my neighborhood,
Mm.
I would have maybe dealt with gun violence. And when I heard that, I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that's where like another piece came in, like not only like the audience, but
Yeah.
knowing like the power, like the potential of theater.
Yeah.
And that to
I'm
me
sorry.
was like, this is
I'm sorry.
no worries. We're
Mhm.
human, you all. Um, that was where like something locked in. Like, say, okay, first I'm doing Shakespeare, introducing as a rapper. I built confidence because I showed something that was so unaccessible. I
Mhm.
said, hey, we're just going to focus on beats. What is a fiddle talking about? Segregation, racism, and like I would show like these are universal stories. So use as an entryway, like the playful part to
Mhm.
make something that feels hard and heavy and unaccessible.
Mhm.
Like, okay, I feel connected, So when those going back to the stories of the young ladies in the restaurant was like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm creating a safe space.
Wow. Yeah.
And that to me was like,
Yeah.
okay,
But
there's something.
you gave me an example of very serious topics. And I know that drama therapy can go from very silly to very serious. So, have you ever encountered someone who thought the play was maybe too childish or frivolous for what they thought they were getting?
Yeah. Okay. So more story time, right? So another example. So with teenagers, it's easier entryway play, right? So,
Yeah.
okay. Not so much I'm going to mirror like and act like I'm cool because I'm not 16. I'm
Right.
48. So I'm not going to be a teenager, but I can match the energy saying, you want to be tough? Okay. I can be tough with you. What's wrong? And that's the mirroring thing, right? So that's one entryway of getting someone to be with you. I match energy. That's another
Yeah.
thing. I'm a magician,
Well,
right?
you're
I
very
read the
good at
room.
that. You're
Yeah. Cause I'm like, you know what?
good at that.
This goes back to me being a jokester, and a clown, and theater and always finding humor as a pathway of like connection. But I was like, okay, these kids are being difficult. How am I going to get them to do this? You know what? Then I just act tough.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? Just mirror back to you.
Right.
So that was a little easier. Now, fast forward when I was doing my internship at a treatment center for recovering addicts and like those who have mental health like disorders and general homelessness and other like life challenges. Being a drama therapist, if you guys don't know what drama therapy is, imagine going to a place that they don't know what to do with you, but they're going to give you your clinical hours and you have no experience. But I think drama therapy, it's play. That's what they think. We're going to play. And I don't know what they thought. But
Right.
I went with confidence. This is the acting background. I'm like, I'm going to act like I know what I'm doing. I
Right.
was scared. The night before, I was like, I'm going to work with addicts.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I heard that, if they could feel like, like sharks, they could feel your energy
Mm.
or animals, right? Like they could feel it and they're very primal because they're at their worst. So I wanted the attitude was like, okay, guys, what do you feel like doing?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to try something that is so silly that you're going to take risk, but there's no guilt and shame. You won't go to jail. What is it? Improv.
I love it.
Improv. And so it's about putting a twist on something and making a connection. So it's about relating. The important thing, Addie, is talking about the function.
Mm.
Hey, I'm going to do this one thing. Yes, it may come across as silly, but here's why. That's important, right? Like for any creative arts therapist,
Right.
like any of us, art, dance, music, you
Mhm.
have to tell the person,
Why?
I'm going to do this thing with you, but I'm going to tell you what, let's try. If it doesn't feel good, we'll scratch it.
Cool. So the takeaway here is play is medicine. Yeah. Play is indeed medicine. And it's medicine for the spirit. It lets us process our pain in ways that words cannot.
That's the power of the arts.
Yeah.
You talk about the ritual, right? It evokes.
But let's talk about arts as medicine, trauma-informed practice. All right. So trauma doesn't disappear just because we don't speak about it. And even as healers, we also have to deal with our own trauma. It lives in our body, as you said, in the breath, in the silence. But art, as you show us, can reach those places words cannot, right? So let's talk about how creativity becomes medicine. So you bring trauma-informed practices to your work. How does performance, improv or improvisation, and creative expression help people move from trauma to transformation?
Okay. So I love this question because it's a buzzword and now, like trauma-informed. But really, I look at, one going as trauma-informed as an artist who's trauma-informed is helping someone connect to their body. Because when you think about it, when you're in a traumatic state, when you're in flight, when you're in freeze, when you're, fight, you're not present. You're thinking about how am I going to get out of this danger? And so your body automatically responds in one of those ways. And so how do you disrupt it? And so play is an antidote to that. But how do we get there? Is by helping someone feel safe in the space and in their bodies, which is the opposite of someone in a traumatic state. Because you think about someone in PTSD, they're going to be hypervigilant. Their heart is, like palpitating, their chest, their body's constricted. So they're in a very protective state, right? Because the body, the mind, the brain perceives there's a threat. So you're going to do whatever to get yourself out of that threat. So how do you disrupt that, right? And so I would automatically do play. I wouldn't do any art until you gain my trust. Because that's the number one rule when you do trauma-informed work is you have to establish safety. That's it.
So what role does safety and trust play in drama therapy?
So think about when you're a performer, right? You have to make sure your body's warmed up before you do something that's going to bring anxiety, right? Performance anxiety. But if you're a good performer, you rehearse. The moment you go on stage, you're able to get into it, right? Healthily, right? We've all had our areas where we're like, I have to perform. I forgot my lines. That's a different story. But,
I can't be nervous. If I'm nervous, I'm not remembering lyrics or my lines.
Yeah. And if I'm not nervous, I'll repeat monologues. I've been called like, I was great. But anyhow, I digress. So the way it works, right, is you have to make sure the person's warmed up to play, to do the work. That's it. That's where I said there's a disconnect oftentimes with just, let's say, talk therapy, which it's a powerful thing. And I do it as well. But if the person is not connected to their body, how are they going to be able to share those parts that have been so protected for so long, right? So you got to make sure, I feel safe. Do you feel safe? Can you trust me? We're going to do this. And
now, Michelle, do you find that laughter and tears work in the healing process?
Yeah, it's a release. Think about it, right? Your whole body gives into it. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite moments, especially working in treatment and those who are, deal complex trauma is they do a game. And I love when clients say, I haven't seen so-and-so participate, but you have this ability. Okay, let's see if that happens today again, And it's about just finding a way to just be okay in the present moment, because if you're laughing or crying,
you're present.
You're present.
Definitely. And I have an issue. I think, and I used to cry really easily. I used to cry all the time, right? But something shifted in me recently. And that's because I know that if I cry, especially in front of my girls, they tank. Yeah, I've been holding a lot. And so I'm kind of, they're gone. I think I want to just, put on something really sappy and just cry, like nature show or something, and just, get a drink and Right. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm overdue a
And
good,
holding on.
yeah. And that's one of the things that's for another show. The, the weight parents carry to protect our children because they can't see me unwell. They can't see me, quote unquote, weak or letting it go. Not that they've seen me cry, but these are new issues.
Yeah.
And in harder times or, as you know, I have a startup and it gets real for an entrepreneur when you're dealing with 1099s and you're just trying to get clients, it's really, really tough and you have to keep going. But when do you, when you're not allowing the release, it still registers in your body as our body carries not just the stress and the trauma, but it's carving out this new story. And I can feel the new story in my body.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could feel it. And I'm like trying to get rid of things, not add anything more. So for the people watching right now, I want to ask you, what stories are you carrying in your body that's waiting to be expressed? Um,
Yeah.
and one me
Yeah.
and I'm gonna share with you one of my releases is I put on some karaoke on my big screen and I'm home alone.
Yeah.
I think I'm about to have a concert tonight.
No, girl.
I missed the stage, so I'm about to put on some jazz,
Mhm.
yeah, and then just let out
Mhm.
some Billy, some Ella, some Dinah Washington, and just sing. For me, that's how and I'll probably end up crying on some of those too, but I feel like I need it.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, let's talk about not to just cut it so short, but just let's move on from me. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I really, really am impressed by is your connection to community, Michelle. You've never let go of community. And from the time we've met, whatever, 15 years, oh my God, almost
Yes.
20 years ago, you just jumped right into when I was sharing with you all the things I was doing in the community, you were also doing things in the community and you came and did things with my community. So community, creativity, and collective healing. Okay, so this segue is I want to talk about equity, access, and Drama Therapists United. I know you're a part of that. So healing is not just about the individual. And you know that more than, like many of us. And in our cultures, in our histories, healing has always been collective. So you're doing the work to make sure these art-based therapies are accessible. So
Mhm.
tell us about Drama Therapists United and why it matters to bring mental health and play to communities who might not otherwise have access.
So thank you for sharing that. It actually does connect to your story, but we'll put that on the shelf. Like I tell my clients, we can't get there. It's on the shelf. We'll come back to it. Right. So community, right? Oftentimes in our experiences, we feel alone. Right. And then when we don't know like how to seek supports, that's when things get amplified, such as anxiety, depression, things that we thought we worked on. And then let's say like a life transition. I like to call them the ghost
Mm.
of our past, right? They show up, right? And
Mm.
then we start saying, what am I lacking?
Yeah.
What's
Wanna
missing in my
blast
life?
off.
Yeah. So movement's very important. So, I just want to tell like the audience members, like when we do this work, we got to move because when we move our bodies, we release. Okay. So that's a tip for you all. Maybe we might share some tips. So community has been
Twerk it
important.
off. Twerk off.
Yeah. Yeah. So community has been important because it goes back to my youth. I
Mhm.
wish I had what I'm offering, which is a sense of connection and knowing that you're
Yes.
not alone.
Yes.
And a
Yes.
lot of these communities I work with, let's say communities that don't have access, and we're going to use that specifically, don't have access, let's say, to centers or theater because of whatever reason, economical, right? And that's just like, hey, we definitely have some jewels in the rough.
Yeah.
Individuals have so much potential, but because of lack of access. So me, along with two other drama therapists, we're like, hey, we're people of color. We know how it is. I'm Latina. So like talking about mental health with family is you're looked poorly upon or you're not crazy. You know, I know how you can relate to us. Like, if
Oh,
you're
they
depressed,
they're gonna say,
why are
yeah.
you depressed?
What you depressed about?
Yeah.
They're
Let's
gonna
talk
say,
about it.
yeah,
Like,
they're gonna say
yeah,
bail for me, which means,
yeah,
oh, things are just going too well for you, so you have to find something.
yeah. And like, with your energy, I'm not going to talk to you. So I'm good.
Yeah.
So as a kid, not having someone that would actually reach out and see like what was wrong, I had my own slew of complicated issues that really followed me into adulthood. And I was like, I thought I worked on this.
Yeah.
So when we're going through things, the power of community is so you could be seen, right? And so Drama Therapists United, we're like, we want to bring this to communities that don't have access. We want to focus on youth because youth is our future. As we know, the world is very,
Probably the few.
it's like pear-shaped, whatever, right? But we got to be okay.
Yeah.
We got to be okay because oftentimes we create these narratives
Yeah.
that we're going to jump to conclusions. We're going to catastrophize, right? We're going to see like it's this and it can't be this. So we're living a safe anxiety, right? So we want to focus on youth because they're our future, but we got to be the role models. And so we said, we're going to use play in order to talk about these things.
Yeah.
So we focused on play as one of our, like core values. We focus on storytelling, absolutely, because we'd like to focus. Everyone has a story that is worth amplifying and sharing.
Awesome.
Now, imagine saying that to someone who comes to a community. There's like, I'm not important. I'm not going to this school. Whatever. That whole narrative of I'm not good enough. And then we're telling you, hey, what is your story? And then we always encourage, let's clap at the end because we don't have to be celebrities. We can be celebrated right now, right?
Yeah. We can celebrate.
So use that play to celebrate, to disrupt, because think about this.
Yeah.
If the adults are full of anxiety, and the kids are being diagnosed with things that, because there isn't balance, they're experiencing depression, anxiety. As we know, like suicide rate is actually going down to even the youngest 10, 8-year-olds. So my call to action, because I did deal with those feelings, but fortunately I didn't give in to them, but I came close. Came close. And that's why, like it's been my mission.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Yeah. And so I was very blessed to find like these two other drama therapists that we dealt with our own mental health issues. And we're like, okay, our call to action is to use our skills. We're very diverse. Like my friend Jordan, who's one of the members, he was on Broadway. So can you imagine like all the skills he brings?
Yeah.
Cassandra, she's this fabulous soulful singer. And me, I'm like the placer. So us together, we combine our efforts, and I have like a stronger mental health clinical background. So I was able to create structure, say, hey, we want to be able to repeat this. We need the formula.
And
so we can actually carry it.
I love that you're talking about this. The first thing it did was gave me a quick deja vu. And I got a little emotional and I was like, stop it, because I was about to cry. Because I was thinking so many years ago, you and I were sitting down, we were talking about what we want to contribute to the world. And dang, I want to cry.
Take a breath.
And I said, I want to be what I lacked growing up. I want to be that for not just kids, for adults, for people in our community. Oh my God. Because we've latchkey, Generation X, even if I got hurt, I didn't tell my parents.
My gosh, the stories, right? The stories we could tell, Addie. Oh my gosh, right? Like, think about, we were feral children. It's like, oh, is that cat
And my mom used to say, I dare somebody to kidnap you guys, because I was catching a bus very young, I'm like 10 years old. I'm catching a bus by myself. And my mom's like, yeah, they'll send you back. You're that annoying. Like,
I
wow,
love you too.
love you too. And it
Oh,
was
wow.
get over it type of era for us. Yeah. So the second thing I thought about was, dang it, did it escape me? You were talking about access, right? And what RDT does, right?
ETU.
BTU, BTU does. And I was thinking, dang it, dang it, dang it. Well, it'll come back because you're gonna keep talking, and I know it'll come back. But yeah, those two things had come into my mind, and I know I'll remember the second one. What happens, Michelle, when an entire community have a space to heal?
Yeah, I would like to contribute to studies on that. And that's actually one of my next career
Very cool.
goals
Mhm.
is to show the value behind arts programming in our community because it's out there. If you do the research, I think University of Florida, they
Mhm.
have an arts and medicine program and they have like, for the public, like tons of like evidence-based, research specifically on like the healing and like medicine and like community and all that stuff, right? So I what I want to say is it brings community together,
Mhm.
right? It helps people work on things that normally, they may like look down upon because it's stigmatized, like, oh, mental health, you have to be cuckoo, like the whole narrative that pushes someone for actually receiving support or even
Yeah.
inquiring, right?
Yeah.
So you're creating, a way to break through those barriers
Mm.
of healing. Okay. So there's something in drama therapy, something called playback.
Mhm.
And it's a form of improvisation, but it incorporates music as like the soundtrack, right? And the whole premise is gathering stories from the audience, just asking questions like, does someone have a story about being caught in the weather?
Yeah.
What was like one emotion that you experienced?
Yeah.
What was something of joy? And then through that, like the storyteller
Yeah.
provides it for the players, and then the players have to play the essence of the story,
Yeah.
reflect back.
Right. That
And then
sounds
from
fun.
there, yeah, and then from there, other audience members contribute more. And you just have this whole night or day or just event of
Yeah.
a community happening. And then take it in a context of an area that was affected by a hurricane, sharing these stories that maybe, not having the capacity to share or listen to because you're going through trauma. But imagine coming to community
Yeah.
and having your story reflected back on you
Yeah.
and you
Well,
feel seen and heard.
as you're saying this, I think you're going to put Tony Robbins out of business one day. I could see you on the stage and you're just working the crowd and everybody participating. I could see that being very beautiful and people coming out of that experience transformed. So, yeah,
Hey, that's
you.
That's
Now,
why I got buy your book, Addie.
yeah,
Yes,
receive that.
blueprint.
Well, we'll
Yes.
talk about that after. So, while I'm thinking about that for you, I'm thinking, what role do partnerships play in that? For example, the Adrienne Arsht Center, maybe, some of the theaters down in Miami or on the beach. What do the African American theater, the Haitian American, or what's that called? The Little Haiti Cultural Arts Center.
Yeah, or complex. Oh, they've gone through
Complex.
some name changes. Yeah.
Long as they don't change it to Lemon City, we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Haitians fought for that. So what role do these entities, these organizations, these partnerships play in being able to bring more community or making drama therapy more accessible?
So I have a story hopefully could answer your question of how I got involved, right? And so it started off with the Adrienne Arsht Theater. And I saw this roll call for actors for this play called
Mm,
I Am Me. And it deals with teen stories of like immigrant stories dealing with mental health, but it's dealing with like, marginalized immigrant communities that, mental health is just non-existent. It goes back to what we were saying. You're sick, you're crazy. What's that? Right. So don't say that you don't
right,
feel good because it's gonna make
right,
us look bad and
right.
whatever, right? So it amplifies these stories through the voice of like five teenagers that have very unique experiences. So anyhow, I'm like, huh. they need a drama therapist if they're going to handle this work. So crazy thing is, I see the call to action. Jordan, one of my partners from Drama Therapists United, I go, hey, Jordan, I'm going to write an email. I need for you to proof it. He was teaching, so he didn't have time to read it. But when I sent the email, Addie, divine intervention, the Adrienne Arsht contacts me.
Yes.
I didn't even send an email to them. I thought about it, right? So they're like, oh, Michelle, you'll be perfect. We're forming a team of other creative arts therapists to put a resource guide. We would love your expertise. And I had a website. So somebody told me, you need a website because that's your storefront, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, thank God I had that. Thank God, like I was like, okay, I had the determination to contact them some way, somehow, because I knew I need to get my foot in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is your call to action, Michelle.
Nice.
So through
I'm loving
you
this.
know, I've been very fortunate because so we do this play. I worked in a resource guide. They see my ability
Mm-hmm.
and they see my leadership and like how invested I am in like community and like making mental health accessible. And we can use, therapy in schools because, there's a lot of like liability, what have you, but you could say it's therapeutic. We're going to talk about these topics, the workaround. We can always find the workaround and get yourself in the door.
Mm-hmm.
So through them, this is like before the pandemic, 2019, we worked on the resource guide. I started doing workshops, curriculum development. Hey, Michelle, they want you to go there. Back and forth, Another theater company, Berkeley, up in Broward or Pompano says, hey, Michelle, you're a drama therapist. Non-existent. It's because I just put my information out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I got to do like, something called like a role theory workout to help the actors to connect to their bodies and saying, what do you feel? What parts are getting in the way? Is it someone who's the victim when she goes to like auditions? Let's play with that. Right. And so the more I did that and talked about the work, it was like planting the seeds of intention.
Yeah. And building a name for yourself.
Yes. And so as a drama therapist, that's why, I asked you, or anyone in the audience, have they heard of art therapy, music therapy? When it comes to drama therapy, we have to really talk about ourselves, but in a clear cut way. Like, what is my function? Like when I go into a room, we're going to do improv, but what is my function? And this is what I can do. I could trust myself. I can deliver. And because I'm passionate, right, about how I can use theater to help create change. Theater is a change maker. And so I just get excited talking about this, but it's just now I'm reaching out and that's something that what is my next stage? Because I want to get more with like the day public schools. I want to work with the youth. That's kind of like where I've been like very much like, do it, and I've been very lucky with Adrienne Arsht because they've given me this platform. I've been interviewed. I've been featured on their website. So I have now, it's like I have this credibility that I'm like, thank goodness.
I'm so happy for you. And your work is so great. I'm sorry, I'm just, denying a phone call. Your work is so great, Michelle. You are democratizing healing. You're making
that.
Yeah.
They just gave me something to work with.
You know I'm a copywriter.
Yeah, I love you. I love you. I love it. Yeah.
So you are democratizing healing, and I love that. Play and mental health, they should not be luxuries. They should not. And they're human rights. And when your practice gets the respect it deserves, maybe there'll be a lot more funding available and opportunities for you. And that's what I'm claiming for you as well. Yeah. Let's segue into laughter, tears, and liberation. Humor, improv, and liberation. So you're also an improv performer. You're great at it. I would love for us to have an improv session. When you come visit me, I'm going to get friends together and I just...
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
I love improv.
We'll have so much fun.
I can break into song, I can write songs on the spot. Listen. So you're an improv performer, you're a comedian, you're a storyteller, and sometimes laughter carries as much healing as tears. So how does comedy and improvisation fit into your healing practice? And can laughter really liberate us?
It's a big question, right? So let's start with basics.
Well, I like to watch comedy shows when I'm depressed.
Yeah, just think about it. Comedy comes from the good comics. How about this? The comics that connect with the audience, they come from a reference point. There's authenticity, right? And then when they can relate to the story, there's humor. It's like, oh my gosh, that's a reflection. Yeah, that kind of reactions because the relatability, the release of like, I laid that story out. It's
Right.
ridiculous, right? And so humor is an entryway of telling these hard things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is where, like, we use humor as a tool, not just to land there and like be in the giggle land, because that's not healing. It's like, okay, you're in this one state, or you're like manic depression, what's going on there, right? But you say, okay, I'm using the humor to add lightness. Think about like what happens to your body. And there's studies about humor
wow.
being medicine.
Just laughing. Laughing.
Remember Patch Adams, that movie, the Dusty
Yes,
going
I
into like the
remember Patch
rooms?
Adams. Oh, all
Just
right.
think about that. You can use that as like an example of like what humor does in hard times.
Wow.
It's an entryway of like saying, we're going to laugh. Like my life is hard, but thank you for giving me that moment, that break. It's a break. It also gets like when we laugh, right? Like the whole body gets involved, right? Like we are genuinely laughing. It's like a release.
It releases dopamines, it got the cortisol.
Yeah. And I don't know about your audience members, but as we get in our 40s, cortisol is that thing that becomes the enemy. It doesn't have to. We just have to find balance. And humor is one of those things that helps find that balance.
Yeah. Cortisol in my body met with Jesus because it got eternal life in my belly. It's just uses.
I'm feeling holy too, y'all. But going back to like, humor and tears, right? So we're talking about these releases because think about when you finally cry, you allow yourself to be.
Yeah.
You allow yourself to just to feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a friend who used to say, oh, man, I remember the second part of what I wanted to say. All right. So thank you. There was a friend, right? See, this all brought it. Her name is Astrid. Wonderful, wonderful. I think you met Astrid before. Your childhood friend. But she's a traveling nurse, so she's away right now. When I had my breakdown, right? My first breakdown, like remember, I didn't even know you were there and I didn't know what was happening to me. Right. I started praying. Remember, I was having like meltdowns every single day.
Yeah, I know.
Like, what is going on? And I had always looked at depression or anxiety as a weakness. I'm Haitian. Of course, if you're depressed, you're weak.
Yeah. Stupid.
And now, of course, if you're having anxiety, you got problems.
So laughable, right? When you think that way. But anyhow, sorry.
But I was having the biggest meltdown of my life. Breakup, working full time, single mother of 3, having to take them to 3 different schools. My daughter's still in the magnet program in the heart of Miami-Dade County. And, my other children are in school in Hollandale Beach. If you're in South Florida, you know what that crazy traffic is like. Yeah. And then I'm in a full-time PhD program.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really? Why? I just kept stacking. And I was still a performing artist.
Yes. And like, you're fabulous. And you were able to get in the moment, but at the same time,
came crashing down. And well, when we talk about community, it's not just, okay, getting in a room or having access to a big healing event. It's those quiet moments where this one girlfriend, Astrid, every time she got off work, she came straight to my house and just sat on my couch. And if I hadn't bathed for the day, she'd say, time to go bathe, honey. And she'd wait for me and come back and she'd put something funny. And we'd just sit there. We didn't talk about anything most of the time. She'd just sit there. And I tell her this, but I don't know if she understands how amazing how healing, how necessary, how she brought me out. That is the most selfless thing anyone has done for me every single day. And she knew what she was doing. Before she was a nurse, she was a behavioral health therapist. And she understood, she knew what I was going through. And she just came, she's like, no, I'm just here to sit with you. And I'm like, okay, but I'm not much fun right now. And she's like, it's okay. If she just sit there and we'd watch TV. And so I will forever be grateful to her. Yeah. Any chance I get, I tell her, you don't know what you did for me at that time. So bring that back to laughter and tears and someone to just
Safety.
hold your hand. Yeah. So why is it important to honor both the joy and the grief on your healing journey?
If you remove one, you can't access the other. Think about this, right? And I'll use my recovery background working with recovering addicts. Oftentimes, my clients I worked with, they would use whatever said substance to escape, to avoid, but they were numb, right? So to remove one, you don't have access to those parts of you that are emotional, whatever emotion. So it's important to access those parts that need to be heard, right? And this is where like drama therapy storytelling is. We use something, like role method. We use something where I say, okay, what roles are serving you? Which ones do you identify with? And which ones do you want to step into? Robert Landy, he's the creator of the role method. And he used the whole, it's insane, 184 roles from different plays. And yeah, he's a genius, but I had to condense the work and I don't know, magically picked 24.
Right.
And I had the clients access, okay, so what's this role mean to you? And then you connect those parts okay, I see myself as a victim. Okay, no judgment, but that's how you view yourself. You don't see yourself as the hero. Interesting. What is that all about? Okay. And then you want to be a dreamer. Okay. But what's getting in the way? And so in order to find out what's getting in the way, you have to access the emotions. Because the roles we play, they have different emotional qualities. Who we put ourselves out in the world.
I remember that therapy session. I'm going to need to go through that again because I do have a hero complex. And when I can't be the hero, I tank.
Yeah, so how do you integrate it, right? Because how do you turn it off? Maybe the hero will be a 5 instead of being a 10 today.
Yeah.
Who needs to jump in? The compassionate self.
Yeah.
So this is stuff it's a life work,
right? Compassionate to ourselves too. It's just, I feel like I'm ill-equipped to become a matriarch, and I find, when mom passes,
oh yeah,
you're now.
Addi, we have a similar story because my mom passed away, my grandparents said the older generation, they were the matriarch and patriarchs. They were the glue for the family. And
recently that I got the epiphany that,
oh yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So how do you step into it
now? Yeah.
So how do you step into it? You want to say how do you define who is that matriarch? Who does she have to be?
This is that's a
different topic.
Yeah. There's a new story, and I'm going to shelve that. And I think that if I'm getting to the root of what my angst is, what my biggest elephant is, it's that. Yeah. Damn, I don't want to be an adult.
That resistance, right? What is to be an adult? I still get that,
and I'm talking big now. And I'm still feeling like as long as the parents were around, you never quite felt like an adult somehow. And then I feel like, damn, I'm an orphan. I'm for real grown.
So this is, you mentioned about tonight, you're going to play that music. This is part of your healing. This is where the arts, and the audience, right? Honestly.
Best thing from my mom.
Art. as that connector to help you connect to yourself. What feels good? It's self-care,
For sure.
you know? As you're dealing with this heavy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Part of my healing journey,
Yeah.
part of my healing journey definitely involves story and going back to the past.
Well, and I write. Let's
Yeah.
talk about story.
Yeah.
So part of some of my healing practice is writing. And I have a blog faithfully now. I started in
Mm-hmm.
2014. I fell off on it, but I've been consistently I put out at least 2 articles a week now.
Yeah.
And podcasting is also helping as well because I get these free therapy sessions with you guys. And
See?
um podcasting and talking with my children, all of these things are healing tools and resources that I'm using. But writing, when we want to talk about writing, I want to talk about
Mm.
I wrote a book.
Yes, you did.
I wrote the book for myself, Michelle. If I'm honest, I know I wrote it for myself, but it's important to share, right? Because I needed a blueprint. When you're neurodivergent, right? And I'm not proclaiming that for myself. I've been called that, but I'm not going with that because it wasn't an actual diagnosis or anything. But someone told me they think I'm neurodivergent. Maybe I am. And we suffer with, not really suffer, but we work with ADHD. We're all over the place sometimes. And I just needed to map out, how am I going to get to the core of what I want, my core values. What holds value for me? What is success for me? What does that look like? And how do I get there? And I created the blueprint because I wanted to really tap into myself and tap into how to get there. Tap into myself, find out what is keeping me from doing what I
Mhm.
want to do, going all the way back to childhood, what made me happy, what gave me joy, how did I lose time, when you're doing something beautiful, when you're doing something that your soul is happy doing it, what makes, at the core of it all, what really helps. So the book is written for just anyone navigating change, whether in their career, relationships, personal life, or inner journey. And it offers practical steps, soulful reflections, and exercises, Michelle, to help them align their passion with prosperity. And so I believe it could bring tremendous value to people, especially as a personal and professional growth tool. It can reinforce our commitments to transformation and
Mhm.
well-being. I love that it can be used for workshops and team building or engagement with a community. I have a mind that I would love to see bigger organizations that deal with the public, to buy it in bulk. I think it would be great. And I know I write it from a woman's voice because I'm a woman, and
Yeah.
we're deeply about other women, especially women of color. But it is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, Asian, Latina, Haitian. I think there's something in there for everyone. And I think the book is just timely and needed.
You
So
know?
happy for it.
Yes. Yeah, I'm happy that you created it, Addie, because it's something that feels very complete and purposeful. And the fact that it's for like from your own reasoning, right? Like I'm doing this for myself, but you know that there's not others just like you. There's more out there.
There's so many just like me, and it's made for the person who's probably afraid of getting off the ledge to become an entrepreneur. And so it even gets a little bit into that because my other company is based in learning and development. for companies to train leaders and their staff. So I want people to be more humanistic in their approach, whether it's selling, whether it's customer success, customer service. There's a way to really connect with folks because this world is hard enough. Why can't we be intentional? We talk about that a lot. Why can't we be intentional in our kindness, in our
Right.
creativity, in our
Yeah.
authenticity, without trying to swindle somebody or trying to push an agenda of some kind? So it also, there's a part in there in branding yourself, marketing yourself, building a lead a lead generation base for yourself, going about even leveraging AI. So to get some things done for yourself and how to do that for yourself, to be an stay at home or traveling entrepreneur, and that's the way of the world. And so I definitely lay out the blueprint, but it's more heavily focused on who you are and uncovering what your values are, what it is you want to contribute to the world, and also to give yourself grace. Because I know a lot of us, we procrastinate, but everything in its due time. And people are seriously, I don't know one person who's not dealing with some type of mental illness today. If they say they're not, it's a lie. And so jobs should stop asking on the application, have you ever had a mental illness? Don't ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I American? Am I Black? Am I Haitian?
Am I a woman?
Am I a woman? Do I have children? Like, leave me alone. Don't ask me,
Yeah.
because of course everyone's dealing with mental illness, and it's even more frequent than catching a cold. And so
Oh,
it's more
I don't
frequent.
think I want to add something. Sorry. I'm like,
Well, no, you're
Oh,
going to
that-
come in. I think it's more frequent than catching a cold. And I think we need to remove the stigma from it. And so I'm deciding to speak more openly about the things that ail me and how sometimes I'm just sad. Sometimes I just don't want to talk. Sometimes I just don't want to get out of bed. Sometimes I can't get out of bed. And that's okay. And so finding the tools to feel better without numbing the pain. That's not what I'm talking
Mm.
about. But a gummy here or there is still great.
Hey,
But not to numb the pain, but you want to have the tools to do that. Yeah. You were gonna say something. What were you gonna say?
yeah, that's me wanting to like contribute to all that because as you're talking, right, this is a tool that's needed. And just imagine if we were to incorporate some role activation. Like who do you envision yourself to be? Right?
Mhm.
What is that story? And I see that blueprint, right? Using something like, let's say, the role method. Like step into this role. Oh, you don't feel confident? Let's explore that through this blueprint. And as you're talking about it, maybe some parts resonate with someone and that's okay. And then other parts, but it's a blueprint, right? To use as you wish. Is that like the nature behind it? Is it where you have to use it like, let's say page 1 through page 200, or could someone just easily jump in and say, I want to pick, this one section. So I'm just thinking, imagine using something creative with that as well,
Mhm.
right? To use your imagination. And so this is something that we lack
Mhm.
as, let's say, as a society, is
Mhm.
tapping to our imagination because we're always focused on what is the next step.
Yeah. Well,
Living in that fear state.
yeah. And that does put us in that fearful state, and a lot of us just freeze.
And then we have to,
Oh,
and we
that's
have
a
something
lot
called
on that feeling. Yeah.
decision fatigue,
Yeah.
right? Where you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. But
You know?
I have in the book, there's a quick exercise to get over that.
Awesome. I love it. Right.
And the back, there's a bonus in the back of the book of affirmations.
Yeah. And that's a line a lot of work I do. I use affirmations, right? Like using positive self-talk
Mhm.
and then making that like challenging that negative script
Yeah.
that overrides your head, that
Yeah.
interferes with your connection
Right.
or falling to like false beliefs saying, I can't do that. I'm
No.
not good enough.
Oh, I saw with my daughter just the other day.
Yeah.
A lot to them, the sky is falling whenever something's not going their way, right? And she was really disparaging herself. And I said,
Mm.
really? How dare you talk about my daughter like that? I'm like, are you kidding? My daughter is smart and brilliant.
I love
Wow,
that.
she's sweet. Don't ever let me hear you judge her that harshly. Not at all. Not ever. You're a lot.
And what did she say?
She kind of smirked, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, part of that is not disparaging ourselves. How dare us? How dare you not care for yourself? How dare you, talk down or not know how great and brilliant you are? Yeah. So,
So imagine that you get to have the opportunity to explore that with a playful way, right? Because that messaging hurts. Like if you imagine like the negative self-talk that let's say someone has,
yeah,
they're to reflect that back to like put it on paper or say to someone else,
yeah,
it's gonna be nasty. You wouldn't dare say that to someone else. But for
yeah,
some reason, we condition ourselves to make that as a normal, right?
yeah.
So
We
to
talk
work
about
with that
love.
stuff, like that negative talk, like is that your victim self that's speaking? Is that, your 5-year-old self? So that's another topic about,
Yeah.
being into past life,
Yeah.
past work, right?
Um,
But the power of like drama therapy is you can go back in the past.
yeah.
You could
I love
travel in the
that.
future.
I love that.
Where do we need to go
Where
today?
do we need to go and which one of ourselves need to heal now?
Yeah.
That's
And like me, my responsibility is to guide you so you don't get stuck.
Mm.
And let me know if you feel stuck. Let's see how we can get unstuck. Do we stop here and like just breathe? Do we shake it off? Do we
Yeah.
twerk?
Wow. All right. Now, Michelle, your work reminds us that healing is not linear at all. It's messy, it's beautiful, but through play, art, community, we can remember who we are and we can heal together. Do you have any final words for my listeners?
I say that you don't have to do it alone.
Mm.
You don't. Right. And trust that your story has value. And if someone doesn't want to listen, maybe they're not in the space to listen. They may not have the capacity and we just let it be. So I say just take one day, one moment at a time and express yourself, dance it out. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me to learn more about drama therapy. But I want to encourage you that we're in this together.
Well,
It's a journey.
hold on. Check out the description. You're going to like, subscribe, and share this video. And Michelle's information will definitely be in the description. So what type of work do you offer to individuals, schools, and groups, and even work teams? And what do you offer?
I could do consultation, like team building, how to use, let's say, drama tools like theater games to build team building. I can work on restructuring programming, see if there's opportunities, if you want to incorporate like mental health, making it accessible by maybe just like check-ins, this and that. For groups, for youth, I focus on like self-esteem building, working on anxiety, working on depression, very goal focused. And then I work with individuals. If you want to tap into your own like narrative and you're kind of curious about something other than talk therapy, drama therapy may be it. And you don't need experience, just an openness and willingness to try something different and allow yourself just to be.
Amazing. Thank you. And I see the value in the work that you do. I'm definitely going to add you to my website because you're definitely an asset that I'd like to leverage when I'm making offers of services that we provide. And you are definitely, you're automatically part of my
By default.
by default. Yes, definitely doing that. So to my listeners, I ask you this. I usually leave them with a prompt, Michelle.
Yeah.
And where in your life can you choose play over pain? And where can you choose to express instead of suppress?
Mm.
Yeah. So, like I said before, you can find Michelle's work with Drama Therapists United and her private practice linked in our show notes below. And remember, you can continue this journey with me in my new book, What's Next for You? Living in Purpose, a practical guide to aligning your passion with prosperity. It's available on Amazon. And if you want a bulk order, I'm working with you, meaning you're going to get a great discount for your team. Contact me directly. You'll have that link in the description as well. Michelle, I'd like to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you showing up and doing this with me and being my co-guest, my co-host guest, my guest co-host. Maybe I'm also dyslexic. I'm just playing. So my guest co-host, and I really appreciate you. I love the work you're doing. I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I can't have and I'm such a snob like that. I don't have friends that I'm not proud of, that I can't learn.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm too grown. I don't waste time with those who are not like-minded, giving to the world, giving back, using their talents for good as you are. And you've been a sister since the time I met you. So I want to say thank you.
And thank you for having me. When you asked me, I was like, absolutely. And this was really enjoyable getting to share my work and just being interviewed by you. Like I felt like I was at home. We were just hanging out, and much appreciated. So thank you.
I wanted to give you the respect and the flowers that you deserve. And before I leave, I just want to say I am loving the new cut and color.
Thank you very much. Hey, 48, you got to feel yourself, right? And that's the play, right? Allow yourself to be. And no apologies, girl.
Us 10Xs are looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you.
So love you too. Have a good night. This has been the Empress Addi Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. What you waiting for? I mean, engage, comment, leave your comments. We love to hear from you because I do check the comment section and I do reply. Check out Michelle. She is amazing. You need her for your team. This has been the Empress Addi Podcast, and I'm Empress Addi. Bye-bye.